Eulalia once again made an excuse about a work issue during our dinner and left halfway through. I didn't try to stop her, I just calmly finished my meal. That evening, I saw a post from her childhood friend on Facebook, a picture of Eulalia rolling up her sleeves to serve food at the table. The caption read, "Sudden stomach problems. Poor me. Eulalia was kind enough to cook for me. Whenever I need you, you're always there." That's my confidence. This time I didn't call her to yell or argue. After that, I didn't oppose her leaving me to take care of her childhood friend anymore. Instead, I gently said, "It's okay." Later, her friend posted another picture of them playing a game and sharing a pocky stick. I had no reaction. She finally panicked, her eyes red, anxious, and wronged. "Why aren't you angry?" When Eulalia received the call, her steak had only been touched by 2 bites. "There's work at the company. I need to go deal with it." Go ahead." I cut a small piece of steak and put it in my mouth, tender and juicy. And I was quite satisfied. Eulalia seemed surprised by my calmness, furrowing her brows. "I'll bring you a gift when I come back." With that, she hurriedly left. I calmly finished my meal, a little regretful that I hadn't expected our last anniversary to be spent like this. When I got home, I saw a Facebook post from her childhood friend Eric. The photo showed Eulalia rolling up her sleeves to serve food at the table. The caption read, "Sudden stomach problems. Poor me. Eulalia was kind enough to cook for me. Whenever I need you, you're always there." That's my confidence. I turned off my phone and went to bed. In the middle of the night, I heard someone entering the house using the password. I vaguely registered the sound, confirmed it was Eulalia, and drifted back to sleep. Before I fully fell asleep again, felt like someone was watching me from beside the bed for a while. The next morning, from after washing up, I made breakfast and set it on the table. Eulalia came into the dining room. She looked at the sandwiches and orange juice I'd prepared, and paused before asking, "Didn't you make my breakfast?" She didn't like Western breakfasts. I usually didn't feel like making 2 different kinds in the morning, so I always made 2 Chinese-style meals. I forgot. Just order takeout or eat something on the way. I quickly finished eating and got ready to leave for work. When I looked up, I saw her face was dark. "I know you're mad at me for lying yesterday, but that's because you've been so difficult before." I was scared. "I'm not mad. Eric's stomach problems flared up yesterday, and since he lives alone, I couldn't leave him. I'm really not mad. Please don't make a scene. I've told you before, only see Eric as a brother. Why can't you understand? I'm really not mad, all right?" I couldn't help but raise my voice, but when I saw her shocked face, I softened my tone. "I understand, but I have to go to work now. We'll talk about this later when I get back." With that, I didn't have time to care about Eulalia's emotions and left for work. At work, my boss called me into her office to persuade me again to reconsider the overseas assignment. "David, this is a great opportunity. The environment and safety over there are both excellent. Please think it over again." She had already tried to convince me last time, talking about salary, benefits, and career development, but I kept hesitating. Always thinking about my relationship with Eulalia. I just couldn't make up my mind, but now, I raised my head and saw the slightly disappointed expression on my boss's face. "I've thought it over, boss. I'm willing to go." She was pleased. And the fact that I didn't let her down lifted a weight from my heart. After work, I had dinner outside. When I came back home, I was surprised to find Eulalia already there. That was rare. "You're late," she said calmly, handing me a box. "Anniversary gift." I blinked, then took the box with a sheepish smile. "Thank you. I forgot to buy your gift. Can I make it up to you later?" Her expression darkened slightly. "David, calm down and listen to me. I've told you many times before, Eric and I grew up together. It wasn't easy for him to come to this city on his own, and I promised his parents I'd take care of him. I could tell she was upset, but I still didn't quite understand. Don't get worked up." "I understand. Just say what you want to say. Don't act like this," she snapped, angrier now. "I've told you so many times, Eric, and I only have sibling-like feelings. Why can't you believe me? Think about it. If I really wanted to be with him, why would I be with you? I tried to comfort her. Calm down. I'm not angry. I really do believe you and Eric are just like siblings, you. She held back a breath. After a few moments of her chest heaving, she said, I'm hungry. Sorry, I already ate outside. You can order takeout or cook something yourself. There are ingredients in the fridge. What followed was the sound of her slamming the door. Just as I was about to sleep, Eulalia returned. She walked in and stared at me intently. It's raining outside. Well, why don't you dry your hair or take a shower? She was indeed wet, but I didn't understand why she was saying this. In disbelief, she said, I didn't bring an umbrella. I've been outside for 5 hours. It's raining. Aren't you worried? You weren't like this before. When we argued, you'd call me or ask my friends about my situation after I left. At the very least, you'd keep the lights on in the living room and wait for me to come back. But today I was out for 5 hours and you didn't even call once. I spoke gently. I didn't contact you because you're an adult now, and you know how to take care of yourself. Plus, I didn't want to embarrass you by asking your friends about your whereabouts. Eulalia's expression froze. She must have remembered something she had said to me before. Are you done? I'm an adult, and I know what I'm doing. Why do you have to pressure me like this? And why did you bother my friends with phone calls? Do you know how they mocked me for it? Back then, when I had frantically asked around for hours to find her and finally learned where she was, I was relieved only to be met with her angry scolding instead of gratitude. But I didn't want to dredge up old arguments. I'd been busy with work before the overseas assignment, and honestly, I was a little tired. Okay, you should go take a shower so you don't catch a cold. I turned and went into the master bedroom. Thinking about the work I had to hand over, it took me a while to fall asleep. In the half-sleep state, I felt someone touch my face. Then I heard a sigh, and the bed sank beside me. Eulalia seemed really upset. She was coming and going early in the morning and late at night, avoiding me and not sending me any messages. I actually found it quite peaceful and wasn't going to make things worse for myself. But after 5 days of Cold War, she actually messaged me first. I'll cook dinner tonight. Come back and eat. Honestly, I was quite surprised when I saw her message, because it had always been me cooking. I had even pouted and complained about how tiring it was asking her to cook for once. She had only held me and said, my almost non-existent cooking skills might send you to the hospital. Besides, I just want to eat the meals you cook for me. At the time, I was so blinded by love that I didn't question the contradiction between her words and reality. To make dishes that suited her taste, I had worked hard following recipes after work, enduring countless cuts and burns. It wasn't until Eric told me that Eulalia could actually cook that I realized I had been living in the SOE illusion that my girlfriend would often eat meals I had cooked for her. After a huge argument with Eulalia, her response had been as calm as ever. Eric doesn't know how to cook, and he's particular about food. I couldn't let him keep ordering takeout. He's not like you, who can eat anything. I'm just taking care of my older brother. You're an adult now. Stop expecting others to cook for you all the time. If you think it's such a burden to cook for me, then don't. I don't have to eat the meals you make. After that, I guess I still forgave her after her not-so-sincere apology. What was that saying again? Tears and love are just water in the brain. But I still replied to her, okay? We were about to break up anyway. If possible, let's part on good terms. When I opened the door, I heard Eulalia call from the kitchen. David, wash your hands and sit down for a bit. The food will be ready soon. I sat at the dining table feeling a sense of deep reflection. I hadn't expected Eulalia to take the initiative to cook. If she had done this any other day before, I would have been overjoyed. Eulalia quickly brought over 4 dishes and a soup. Though they were all relatively light, after tasting them, I had to admit that Eulalia was a good cook. David. She called my name with a slight tinge of grievance in her voice. Why haven't you talked to me for so many days? Whenever we've had a Cold War before, you'd be the first to reach out to make up. But this time you didn't contact me even once for 5 whole days. I swallowed my food. I thought you needed some space. We were silent for a moment. After a while, she carefully added, That day I had to cook for Eric because he missed dinner due to his stomach issue. I'll teach him how to cook soon, and I won't keep going over there, okay? Okay? I was worried she'd suddenly get angry again, thinking I didn't understand her. So I just gave a vague response and quietly continued eating. How about this month's gathering? Why don't you come with me? I was surprised and looked up to see the hopeful look in her eyes. Eulalia had taken me to her friends' gatherings before, but we both knew what she was referring to this time. Their special monthly gathering. The special part wasn't the content of the gathering, but the people who attended, only the members of their group. No spouses or anyone outside the circle. I'd asked her to bring me along before, but at first she brushed it off. When that didn't work, she got angry with me. David, are you annoying me on purpose? Can't you stop being so clingy? It's suffocating me. I've told you before, this is a monthly get-together for just us friends. Why do you have to interfere with my personal space like this? I ended up flipping the table, yelling at her about how she was still taking Eric along. She responded coldly, Eric grew up with me and knows all these people. He's not an outsider. Besides, he doesn't have any friends here, and I'm just trying to keep him from being lonely. You don't need to act all suspicious like a crazy person. I hadn't expected her to bring it up again now. However, with all the preparations for my overseas transfer, I was extremely busy, so I politely declined. Besides, my relationship with her friends was always a bit lukewarm. Given the current situation, there was no need to push myself into more awkward interactions. Work's been really busy lately, so let's just skip it. Eulalia slammed her chopsticks down on the table. Her face was weary, and her voice came out as a sigh. David, I know you've been upset about Eric, and I've been accommodating you these past few days, but I'm exhausted too. I've lowered myself enough for you. What more do you want? You're 28 years old. Stop acting like a child throwing tantrums. You misunderstood, I said calmly. Work really is just busy right now, fine. Whatever, she said stiffly. We finished dinner in silence, without saying another word, in the end. She took Eric to the gathering. There was an issue with one of the projects at work that day. Even though I was about to leave, I was still involved, so I stayed late with my colleagues to fix things. During a break, I checked my phone and saw a message on WeChat from Eric in the photo. He and Eulalia were smiling while sharing a Pocky stick. The caption said, ha ha ha, these guys are too much. They're pranking me and Eulalia. I hope David won't mind. I chuckled and casually replied, no problem. I don't mind. Then I muted my phone and went back to work. When I finished, I saw that Eulalia had called me several times and sent dozens of messages. It was just part of the game punishment. I broke it off quickly. Our lips didn't touch. They were really far apart. Can you reply to me, please? David, we decided to go eat at the new stir-fry place nearby. One of my colleagues called me over. Since we had planned to grab dinner after wrapping up work, I'm coming, I said. As I walked out of the office building, I saw Eulalia waiting for me outside. Was she really waiting here? How long had she been there? She looked up at me, her eyes lighting up as she quickly walked over. I asked, confused, you guys finished already? I remembered their gatherings usually lasted until late at night. I left early, she answered. It felt strange, like the sun setting in the west. I thought about her childhood friend Eric and asked, what about Eric? I dropped him off at home. I'm going to have dinner with my colleagues. I couldn't bring myself to invite her. Before I could finish, she said, it's fine, I'll wait for you. Well, there was no way I could eat knowing she was waiting in the car. I quickly told my colleagues I wasn't joining them and left to be with her instead. She looked at me quietly, her eyes slightly red. You're not angry? Huh. I realized she meant the Pocky game from Eric's Facebook post. You were just playing a game. I'm not that petty. Eulalia opened her mouth, sadness in her eyes, undeniable in the dim light. I couldn't help remembering a similar incident, a party where her friends teased her into drinking with Eric and shared a photo online. I had gotten furious, just like today. I called her more than 10 times, and eventually she blocked me. When she got home, instead of comforting me, she scolded me for overreacting, saying my heart was filthy for seeing problems everywhere. She even told me to see a psychologist. Now she looked at me and softly said, David, let's go grab dinner. She quickly changed the topic. I didn't agree to have dinner with her. There's a place nearby that serves the snail noodles and stinky tofu I've been craving. I won't pollute your car's air. I'll just take a cab back home afterward. It's fine, she said urgently, almost desperately. You can eat it in my car? I don't mind. I was taken aback. Was this really the same Eulalia who once had a compulsive obsession with cleanliness, especially about her car? But I didn't feel like arguing, so I went along with it. I didn't mind grabbing a quick meal on the way home, but she didn't head home. Instead, she took a detour and parked at the food street entrance. I was puzzled as she turned to me and said, "David, just wait here for a moment." Then she got out of the car and walked into the street. I sat there alone, looking at the familiar interior, my mind drifting to the past. She had never let me eat in her car before. Once, when I was running late, I ate a piece of bread inside, spilling crumbs. She had thrown a tantrum, parked the car, and lectured me. I was late for work, so I got out and took a cab. That was one of the few times I stood up for myself. Afterward, she calmed down and explained her obsession with cleanliness and how much she cared about her car. I had doubts about our relationship even then, but convinced myself that was just the kind of person she was. After that, I never ate in her car again, though it always felt like a ticking time bomb between us. The breaking point came when she was driving me to a party and Eric was eating chips and spicy snacks in her car. I got cold and distant, old memories rushing back. I mocked her in front of him. "So you have selective car cleanliness now? Or is it just me, the outsider, who's not allowed to eat in your car?" Eric looked confused, embarrassed, and immediately put away the snacks. Eulalia glared at me and snapped, "You're sick!" Then she drove off, leaving me standing there alone. When we got home, she yelled at me for hours. "Eric has stomach issues and needs snacks sometimes. Why are you making such a big deal out of it? Where are your manners?" "Fine, I'll tell you then," she added with a snarl. "Eric has the privilege of eating in my car. You don't. You're just an outsider. Got it?" That was the closest we ever came to breaking up. How we made up afterward, I don't even remember. I guess I just wasn't ready to let her go. That's why she could convince me to stay. The smell of snail noodles and stinky tofu broke me out of my thoughts. I looked up as Eulalia brought over the takeout boxes, a pungent smell escaping even from the sealed bags. "Eat while it's hot. Fill your stomach first," she said, handing me the food with a forced smile. "We can look for something else later, or I can cook when we get home." I shook my head. "No need. The snail noodles and stinky tofu are enough for me." Then I leaned back in the seat. "Waiting for her to drive? Is something wrong? Not hungry?" she asked with concern. I smiled faintly. "No, I'm just thinking about how inconvenient it'll be for you to drive if I eat here. I'll eat when I get home. It's fine. We can park here," she insisted. "It'll be cold if you don't eat now." I was hungry enough to agree, so I started eating. Once I finished, I looked around for a trash can, but she had already started the car. "It's fine," she said. "Just leave the trash in the car. We'll throw it out when we get home." The drive was silent at one point. I noticed she wanted to say something but stopped herself, so I reminded her to focus on the road. She nodded and stayed quiet. When we reached the apartment complex, I grabbed the trash bag to throw it away. "David," she stopped me, took the bag from my hand, and shook it. Some of the broth spilled onto her seat, the seat she cleaned every single day. I stared at her, completely bewildered. "What are you doing?" She looked at me with intense eyes and said, "You can eat whatever you want in my car from now on. It doesn't matter if you spill or make a mess. And from now on, you're the only one with that privilege. Eric won't have it." I honestly thought she was losing her mind. I stood there stunned, and after a long pause, I simply said, "It's David, let's talk properly." I frowned, trying to think of an excuse to push her away. Just then, her phone rang. The screen lit up with the name Eric. She froze, holding it in her hand, hesitating. Seeing her conflicted face, I couldn't help but laugh. "Go ahead and answer. Maybe it's urgent." She got up and answered. "Eric, what's up so late? Your stomach's acting up again? Call 120. It's inconvenient for me to come right now." "Is it unbearable?" "Okay, I'll come right away." She turned to me with an apologetic look. "Eric might really be in trouble. I have to go." Afraid I wouldn't believe her. she quickly added. His situation might really not be good this time. I'm worried about him. You know how he's your childhood friend? I understand. But Eulalia didn't seem to realize that by saying this. She was already admitting that Eric's past excuses for leaving had been lies. I was exhausted. Yawning, I forced a smile. It's fine. Go ahead. She looked at me with a complicated expression. I'll come back as soon as I've sorted it out. My eyelids were heavy. I was so tired that I didn't have the strength to keep smiling. When the door closed behind her, I fell into a deep sleep. The next morning, I got up to wash. The house still looked the same as it had the night before. As expected, Eulalia hadn't come back. I felt calm. This was already what I had anticipated. Since I had the day off, decided to use it to enjoy my last days in the country and go shopping. While I was out, Eulalia called. David, I'm sorry about last night. It's fine. How's Eric? When I got there, his stomach pain had eased up, but... I understand. Don't worry about it. No, listen to me. Her voice suddenly rose. It was late last night, and I was worried Eric might relapse, so I stayed there to keep him company. But I slept in the living room. Nothing crossed the line, I swear. I believe you. David, listen to me. I know you're disappointed in me. This morning I talked to Eric. From now on, I'll keep my distance from him and won't meddle in everything. Her voice was urgent but strangely hopeful. Eric promised me that from now on he won't contact me for every little thing. He even wants to apologize by taking you out to eat. He said he knows he was wrong before. He really means it, and this will be the last time. Can we have this meal with him? It's the final closure. I thought that sooner or later this had to end, and it would be better to break up face to face. So I agreed. All right, to my surprise, the day they scheduled the meeting was the same day I was flying abroad. Fortunately, it was for lunch. If it finished quickly, I could still catch my evening flight. Before that, I said goodbye to my colleagues and friends. They joked, asking if I wasn't worried about leaving for 3 years without my girlfriend objecting. I told them I'd be breaking up with her. They were shocked but didn't press further. In the days leading up, Eulalia had been in a very good mood. She seemed to believe that once the Eric issue was resolved, everything between us would return to normal. On the day, she drove me to the restaurant she had booked. I hadn't even asked where it was, so I was surprised to see it was a Sichuan restaurant. She had always considered oily, spicy food unhealthy and opposed me eating it. So she did know my tastes after all. When we entered, Eric was already there. As soon as he saw Eulalia, he rushed over and gave her a bear hug. She quickly pushed him away and glanced nervously at me. Eric grinned and said, Eulalia and I have always been like this since we were kids. David, you've seen it before. With a serious expression, Eulalia said, Eric, I have to tell you there's a difference between men and women. We're adults now, and this kind of behavior isn't really appropriate. Eric shrugged. All right, I knew you'd be biased towards your boyfriend. I just smiled without saying a word. In the past, whenever I saw them being too close, I'd get angry, and it would lead to fights. But now, no matter how they acted, didn't feel even the slightest stir in my heart. Seeing that I wasn't reacting this time, Eric's eyes flashed with a sneer. He sat down and sincerely apologized. I'm sorry, David. I've been careless before. I know you're generous and won't hold it against me, but I still feel bad. From now on, I won't contact Eulalia anymore. I'll leave her to you. Eulalia sighed, unable to bear the tension. It's not that serious. If something really happens, you can still come to me. David isn't petty. I wasn't interested in Eric's act. I picked up the menu and ordered boiled fish and spicy chicken, then handed it to them. Eric looked surprised. David, both of these are spicy. You like spicy food? Eulalia is so good to you. She doesn't have a good stomach and doesn't like spicy food. Just like me, it's fine. She doesn't like it? I do. He probably didn't expect me to be so blunt and was left speechless. The two of them were really the perfect pair, both with bad stomachs. I raised an eyebrow. Eulalia looked embarrassed and denied it. I don't have a bad stomach, and I don't dislike spicy food. I just rarely eat it. Eulalia, you're really too good too, David. I envy him so much, Eric said. He ordered stir-fried cabbage and roast duck, then tried to win her favor. See? I'm still the one who treats you the best. I'm always thinking of you when I order food. Then he smiled at me. David, don't take it the wrong way. I don't mean anything by it. I'm just concerned about Eulalia. I took a sip of tea. It's fine. I'm not overthinking. Eulalia's face darkened, but she kept her composure. All right, let's just let them bring the food now. Ah, Eulalia, don't you want to order? Aren't 2 non-spicy dishes too few? It's fine. This is enough. Well, okay then. Eric flipped through the menu. I'll order one more thing. He added a chicken cutlet. When the food arrived, the waiter told me the drink I ordered was sold out and asked if I wanted a substitute. I didn't mind and was about to nod, but Eulalia suddenly stood up, saying she'd go outside to the supermarket to buy it. She hurried out, leaving her phone on the table. After she left, Eric gave me a smile. David, there's something I couldn't say in front of Eulalia. I think you're being a bit selfish, ordering food without considering her preferences. Isn't it the job of a boyfriend to take care of his girlfriend? I'm younger than you, but even I know that. Honestly, I'm worried about leaving her with you. Don't blame me for being blunt. I couldn't be bothered to explain that for years I had always been the one compromising for Eulalia's tastes. Just then, she returned to grab her phone and froze when she overheard him. Her face turned pale as she stood behind him. What are you looking at behind me? Do I have Eulalia? Eric stood up in panic, then turned to glare at me. Eric, you're overstepping. Eulalia's voice was cold. Don't forget you came here to apologize, not to make things harder for me. Eulalia, you misunderstood. I just wanted to tell David to take better care of you. I don't need you to tell him that. I'll pamper my boyfriend myself. This was a conversation that had come up countless times between me and her over the years. Now it was happening between her and Eric. Eric, who had always been first in her life, didn't expect this kind of response. He stared at her in disbelief, then awkwardly said, All right, I know I've been disturbing you. I won't do it again. With that, he quickly left the restaurant. I nodded toward the door. Aren't you going to chase him? No need, she replied. He's a grown man, and it's broad daylight. Nothing will happen. She sat back down. Let's eat. She had forgotten she was supposed to buy a drink for me. After a few bites, her phone rang. She picked it up and hung up. Then it rang again, and she hung up once more. It repeated several times. The caller was persistent, as though they desperately needed to get through. Other customers were starting to glance at our table, some even frowning. Answer it. What if something's wrong? It's fine. It's always like this with him. If it were important, he wouldn't keep calling. But your phone keeps ringing like this. It's disturbing other people. She hesitated, then reluctantly answered. The voice on the other end was loud enough for me to hear a few words. Sorry, Eulalia. I didn't mean to bother you. I just ran out of money on my phone and my data's all used up. I don't know how to get home. I asked a few taxi drivers, but none of them would wait for me to get money. The voice sounded sincere, and Eulalia hesitated visibly. I watched with interest. She was uneasy, but after a moment, stood up. David, I promise this is the last time. I won't get involved again. She probably wanted to reassure me, so she leaned in to kiss me, but I avoided it. Seeing her wounded expression, I urged, go quickly. It'll be bad if something really happened. David, wait for me. I'll be back as soon as I can. Without waiting for my response, she rushed out of the restaurant. Almost as if she were escaping, I was left alone with the dishes on the table, regretting that the food would go to waste at the next table. A few young people, probably college students or just starting out in society, kept glancing at me, uncertain. I gave them a questioning look, and finally one of them spoke up. Hey bro, you really shouldn't trust that bad. Your girlfriend. The others nodded in agreement. Yeah, exactly. I laughed, appreciating their concern. Thanks for your kindness. I know what I need to do. When I paid the bill, the waiter asked if I wanted to take the food to go. I shook my head. I need to catch a flight soon. I went straight home, or rather, to Eulalia's place, to grab the luggage I had already packed. To avoid suspicion, I told her I was just sorting seasonal clothes and throwing out unnecessary things. During that time, she was busy running between work and Eric. It's only coming home late at night, so she hadn't noticed the changes in the house. But I wasn't lying. When she returned, she would find that I had taken all my belongings and cleared out every trace I didn't want to leave behind. I left the keys and the anniversary gift she had given me on the coffee table in the living room. I had been curious about the gift, but since we were breaking up, there was no reason to keep it. Besides, I had been too busy to return the gesture. I looked around the now half-empty living room and whispered, "Goodbye, Eulalia." Then I closed the door. When I went downstairs, the car I had called was already waiting. I felt a mix of emotions. In the end, I hadn't found the chance to break up with her face-to-face at the airport. While waiting for my flight, I sent Eulalia a breakup message, and then blocked all her and Eric's contact details. The moment I hit block, I felt a wave of relief. Years of bottled-up grievances finally had an outlet, and my future suddenly felt full of hope. After nearly an hour, it was finally time to board. "David," I turned to see Eulalia running toward me, nothing like her usual composed self. She caught her breath, then grabbed my hand tightly, her voice trembling. I really did come back quickly without staying long. But when I went to the restaurant, the waiter said you'd already paid and left. Then, when I got home, I saw that all your things were gone. I called your friends and colleagues and found out you were flying to Sweden today. Her eyes were filled with sorrow. "Why didn't you tell me?" I tried a few times to bring it up, but every time you had something urgent going on. Urgent. To take care of Eric, she understood immediately. In a panic, she said, "I won't get involved with Eric anymore. I'll block him, cut ties, stop talking to him." I shook my head. "You can't do that." "No, I can. He has parents and friends here. He doesn't always need me." I smiled faintly. "So he does have friends, huh?" Eulalia opened her mouth but couldn't reply. After a few seconds, she said softly, her voice heavy, "Your birthday is in a week." I still remember. I wanted to apologize to you properly on your birthday, but I didn't expect you to leave so suddenly, since I've already decided to break up. "There's no need to celebrate my birthday together," I said, pausing before adding, "Besides, I haven't really celebrated my birthday in years. I had once asked her to spend my birthday with me, but no point dwelling on the past. I decided that once I was in Sweden, I'd finally celebrate a birthday for myself." Her eyes reddened, tears forming. "I'll do whatever you want from now on. I'll cook. I'll wait for you no matter how long. Just give me one more chance. Don't just condemn me like this." She pleaded with me for a long time. Then the boarding announcement came over the intercom. I sighed. "All right." Her eyes lit up with joy. "Ask me anything." I looked at her with pity. "If you can tell me one single holiday or anniversary we've spent together since Eric moved to this city, then I'll agree not to break up." The light in her eyes faded, replaced by despair. She slowly let go of my hand, her voice breaking. "You won't forgive me, will you? Eulalia, let's part ways on good terms." She trembled, then pulled out a small box of the anniversary gift I'd left behind at the house. She begged, "At least take this. Just for me." I gently pushed her hand away. "Don't cling to the past. Look ahead. And if you meet someone else in the future, don't make the same mistakes again." She shook her head in despair. "There will never be someone else." The announcement urged passengers to board. I gave her a final nod. "Goodbye." I turned and walked toward the gate. Behind me, Eulalia finally broke down in tears. I didn't look back. From that moment on, everything was a new beginning.